near Min's closet, a girl clad in a sleek black outfit and helmet was speeding on her bike. The wind whipped through her hair as she expertly maneuvered the vehicle. Next to her, a boy dressed in a light brown suit clenched tightly, eyes wide in fear. Miss Noor, please slow down. I don't want to die this early. Miss Yukin Taeyong, just trust me, nothing will happen. Taeyong squealed, gripping her waist tighter as she zoomed past shorted pedestrians. With a laugh, Noor expertly swerved and accelerated even more, enjoying the thrill. Noor screeched to a halt in front of Min's closet, the bike engine revving one last time before she switched it off. Taeyong smuggled off the bike, his face pale, eyes wide as he tried to regain his balance. He spun a bit, clutching his head. I swear, I'm never getting on a bike with you again. Noor just chuckled, taking off her helmet and shaking out her hair, completely unfazed by the wild ride. You will get used to it, Tai. With a confident stride, she headed into the building, Taeyong trailing behind, still trying to steady himself. As they entered, employees glanced at the duo with a mix of awe and confusion. Noor's black leather jacket and bold attitude stood in the stark contrast to the usual corporate look. Soon they arrived at the meeting room where everyone was gathered. You were sitting there with your designs, waiting for the discussion to start. Johan quietly playing in your office nearby. The moment Yoongi entered the room with Noor and Taeyong, the atmosphere shifted. Everyone I'd like to introduce the CEO of B Wardrobe, my cousin Noor. A stunned silence fell over the room. Everyone exchanged glances, shocked that someone who looked like she belonged in a gang rather than a fashion company was the CEO of such a successful brand. She smiled, clearly used to the reaction. And this is her assistant, Kim Taeyong. Taeyong gave a polite bow, still looking a little disoriented from the bike ride. Noor, however, was calm, cool, and collected. Let's not waste time. We have a lot to discuss for the upcoming show. You couldn't help but stare at her. This woman, with her fierce presence and unconventional appearance, was somehow the head of a renowned fashion company. And now she was collaborating with Min's Closer for the biggest fashion show of the year. Her reputation as Yoongi's cousin only added to the intrigue. Noor and her team will be working closely with us. I expect everyone to treat this project as top priority. Everyone nodded. You exchanged a glance with one of your colleagues, both of you equally surprised by the new collaboration but excited about the possibilities. Noor glanced around the room, her sharp eyes scanning each person until they landed on you. She gave a small nod, acknowledging your presence before turning back to Yoongi. Let's make this the best show Korea has ever seen. You could feel the intensity in the room rising. This project was about to get a lot of interesting. As the meeting progressed, the atmosphere in the room remained intense. No dissipate. Her unconventional style was sharp and direct with her ideas, making everyone listen intently. She and Yoongi discussed the overall theme for the fashion show, bouncing concepts back and forth effortlessly. We need bold, but with a hint of elegance, something that stands out but doesn't scream too loud. Yoongi nodded, tapping his fingers lightly on the table. Agreed. A balance between tradition and modern flair, something that defines our brand while still blending them together. We listened quietly, observing the areas while sneaking glances at your designs. A few of the other designers represent their ideas, though none seemed to impress Yoongi or know too much. Taeyong, still recovering from the bike ride, chimed on occasionally, offering logical suggestions, but mostly stayed quiet as he watched the dynamic between Yoongi and Noor. Finally, after about an hour of intense discussion, Young stood up. Alright, we have covered enough for today. Evan, go back to your stations and work on refining the idea we discussed. The team quickly gathered their things, relieved that the meeting had ended. As everyone stood up to leave, you quietly collected your notes, ready to head back to your workplace. Just as you were about to walk out, you heard the sound of small feet pattering into the room. Mama, your eyes widened in shock as you turned to see Yunhan running straight towards you. He wrapped his little arms around your legs, laughing happily. Panic surged through you as you quickly glanced at Yoongi, his expression readable. Yuhan, sweetie? Before you could say anything else, Johann suddenly noticed Yoongi. His small face lit up with recognition, and before you could stop him, he let go of you and ran over to Yoongi. Tada! He hugged Yoongi's leg, causing the entire room to freeze in shock. You bit catch in your thought as you watched Yoongi's reaction. His eyes widened, clearly taken aback by the joy clinging to him. You could see both Noor and Taehyung staring in disbelief as well, their mouths slightly open. Johan, no, come back here. But Johan, in his innocent excitement, hugged Yoongi tighter. Yoongi blinked, completely at a loss for words as he slowly crouched down, his hand hesitantly reaching out to Johan. Dada? The word echoed in his world as he looked at you, confused, and something else you couldn't quite place. Embarrassed and afraid, you quickly rushed over and scooped Johan into your arms. I'm so sorry, Mr. Min. But before you could finish, No let out a surprised laugh. Well, this got interesting. Young is still silent, stood back up, clearly shaken by the unexpected moment, while Tang was beating back a grin. You hug your hand close to you, your heart racing as you waited for Yoongi to say something. Anything. It's fine, he said quietly, though his expression showed he was still processing what had just happened. You nodded quickly, still flustered. I will take him back to my office now. Noor, still smiling in amusement, waved her hand. Don't worry, kiddo. He seemed to know whose paws already. You gave a small, awkward laugh, quickly exiting the room, with your hand in your arms, still reeling from the moment. You rushed out of the meeting room, still holding your hand tightly in your arms. Your heart was pounding and you couldn't believe what had just happened. Your hand calling Yoongi Dada? You had no idea where he even got that from. As you reach your office, you sit down on the chair, setting your hand on your lap. He was playing with your necklace, oblivious to the chance he caused just a moment earlier. Sweetheart, where did you learn that word? Johan looked up at you with his innocent eyes, smiling as he played with his toy car. Dada? You sighed, brushing his hair gently. He is not your dada, Johan. He is Mr. Min. It was hard to explain to a 2-year-old, especially when Johan was already so attached to people easily. But you had to be more careful. The last thing you wanted was to give Yoongi the wrong expression, especially on your first day. After the surprising incident where Johan hugged Yoongi and called him Dada, the next day began with a mixture of awkwardness and curiosity at the office. You had returned to work with Johan staying at the company's daycare, and Yoongi had been surprisingly quiet after the event. Later that afternoon, Yoongi called for a moment with only you, Taehyung, and Noor in attendance. It was clear that the project for the fashion show was getting more intense. Noor, the CEO of Big Wardrobe, sat at the head of the table with her confident, almost rebellious demeanor, while Taehyung, her assistant, quietly observed, still seeming a bit shaken from their wild ride the day before. We're running out of time. I need progress on the traditional modern fusion design we discussed yesterday. You nodded, feeling the pressure but also excited to showcase more of your creative ideas. After all, the show was only weeks away, and this was your chance to truly prove yourself. Don't worry, Yoongi, we have got this, but I'm curious. She leaned forward slightly, her sharp eyes on you. How's the new boy handling the pressure? Got any revolutionary ideas today, Mayan. I have been working on the traditional Hamburg fusion concept and refining the sketches. I think we can incorporate elements from modern streetwear into the design while keeping the cultural essence intact. Yoongi glanced over at you with a raised eyebrow. Intrigued, show me. You stood up and presented your refined design, detailing the fusion of traditional Korean pattern and fabrics with a sleek, modern twist, incorporating contemporary fashion elements like oversized sleeves and minimalist patterns. No, that's what I'm talking about. Unique but still respectful of tradition. Yoongi nodded improvingly, his expression softening slightly as he observed the design. We will proceed with these. Make sure you have the fabric sample ready by the end of the week. The meeting wrapped up shortly after, with everyone feeling more confident about the direction of the fashion show. Just as you were packing your things to leave the meeting room, Yoongi called your name. Ryan. You turned back feeling a sense of apprehension. About yesterday, don't let it happen again. But he paused for a moment, glancing away. If you need to bring your hand here occasionally, I won't object. Just make sure it doesn't interfere with the work. You were taken aback, surprised by his unexpected glance. Nodding quickly, you smiled. Thank you, Mr. Min. I promise it won't happen again. With that, you left the meeting room, feeling a mix of relief and excitement for the days ahead. The fashion show was coming closer, and this was your time to shine. It was a busy day at the office, and you were deep into your work on the designs for the fashion show. Your horn was playing in the company's daycare as usual, but suddenly a loud wheel echoed through the hallway, making you freeze in place. You immediately recognized Guy. It was Johan. Panicked, you dropped everything and rushed out of your office, your heart pounding as you hurried towards the daycare room. As you approached, you saw Johan sitting on the floor, clutching his knee and crying loudly. He had tripped and scraped his knee while playing. Johan, oh my god, what happened? You kneeled and pulled into your arms, gently inspecting the small scrape on his knee. He continued to sob uncontrollably, his little face scrunched up in pain. Just as you were about to calm him down, Johan's tear-filled eyes drifted to something behind you. You turned and saw Yoongi standing in the doorway, a usual composed expression shifting slightly, a mix of concern and surprise in his eyes as he looked at the crying child. Without thinking, Johan reached out to Yoongi, his cries becoming louder. Dada! Dada! Your eyes waited as you froze in shock. Johan had called Yoongi Dada again, just like the day before. Yoongi looked hesitant for a moment. Just then, to your complete surprise, he stepped forward and crouched down in front of Johan. His expression softened as he reached out, gently taking the boy from your arms. Hey, it's okay, little guy, he said, his voice calm but awkward, clearly not used to dealing with children. Johan clenched to Yoongi, still crying, but his sobs started to quiet down as Yoongi held him. He rested his small head against Yoongi's chest, his tiny hands clutching the fabric of Yoongi's shirt. Dada, boo-boo, Johan whimpered, pointing at his knee. Yoongi sighed softly and stood up, still holding Johan securely in his arms. He shifted the boy slightly so he could see his knee better. It's just a little scab. You will be fine, alright? Stop crying now. But Johan only buried his face in Yoongi's shoulder, clenching to him tighter, as if Yoongi was the only one who could make everything better. You stood there watching the scene unfold, your heart swelling with a strange mix of emotions. Yoongi rocked Johan gently, his movements subsidely tender for someone so exotic. Slowly but surely, Johan's crying softened, and within minutes he was breathing steadily. His face nestled into Yoongi's neck. Yoongi glanced down and realized that Johan had fallen asleep, still clutching his suit tightly. He's asleep, he whispered a little incredulously. I will take him. It's fine. He's already asleep. I will hold him for a bit and take him to my cabin. You were taken aback but nodded slightly. Watching as Yoongi gently adjusts his hold on your hand, carrying him as it was the most natural thing in the world. You had never seen the side of him before. Go back to your I will keep an eye on him until he wakes up. You hesitate for a moment but eventually agreed. As you walk back to your office, you glance back one more time, seeing Yoongi still standing there, holding your hand securely in his arms. It was a sight you never thought you'd see, and it left you with a strange feeling, a mix of hope, gratitude, and something else you couldn't quite put into the words yet. After an hour of focusing on your work, you couldn't help but feel the surge to check on Johan. You knew he was with Yoongi, but it still felt strange, given how Yoongi was usually too distant. You gather your courage and softly knock on Yoongi's office door before entering. As you step inside, you were greeted with a sight that made you stop in your tracks. There, sitting on Yoongi's lap, was Johan happily munching on cut up fruit from a plate that Yoongi held in front of him. Yoongi, with his usual calm demeanor, was sitting back in his chair, occasionally offering Johan a piece of fruit. Yoongi glanced up at you as you entered, his expression unreadable, but he didn't say anything right away. Johan looked up when he saw you and smiled, his cheeks full with fruit. Mama, Dada gave me apples, he announced proudly, pointing at the plate with the chubby little fingers. Your eyes widened at the sight. You hadn't expected Yoongi to be so involved. He was actually feeding Johan, and your son seemed completely at ease with him, as if this was the most normal thing in the world. I I see, you stammered, still processing what you were saying. He woke up a little while ago and started refusing for food. Yoongi explained calmly, so I asked someone to bring him some fruit. You smiled softly, feeling a warm spread through you. Yoongi had taken care of Johan, not just by holding him, but by making sure he was comfortable and fed. It was more than you could have hoped for. Thank you said quietly, your eyes meeting Yoongi's. Yoongi only gave a small nod in response, as it wasn't a big deal. Johan, now finished with his fruit, wiggled in Yoongi's lap and reached for him, wrapping his tiny arms around Yoongi's neck. That hug! Yoongi froze for a moment, clearly not used to this kind of affection, but then almost patiently he wrapped his arms around Johan, holding him gently. "You're a handful, aren't you?" he muttered, though there was no annoyance in his tone, just a hint of amusement. Johan giggled, resting into Yoongi's embrace. You watched the scene, your heart swelling, seeing your son so comfortable with Yoongi, and seeing Yoongi, a man you admired and respected, show such a care for him was something you never expected. It was clear Johan had already developed a strong attachment to Yoongi, and even though you knew it was a complicated, a part of you felt relieved. Maybe this situation was going to be okay after all. I should take him now. You probably have a lot of work to do. Yoongi shook his head slightly. It's fine. He's calm now. Let him stay a little longer. You blinked in surprise, but didn't argue. It was a rare moment, seeing Yoongi so at ease with Johan, and you didn't want to interrupt it. As you watched them together, a small smile tugged at your lips. Perhaps things were starting to change, and for the first time in a long while, you felt like maybe, just maybe, everything would be alright.